want to welcome you to Moody's Mixer, and I hope you've been enjoying this journey with me with prostate cancer. Cancer is something that we seem to not want to deal with, talk about. We just kind of fall in this vacuum. How we deal with it, how the patient lives with it, how the family responds to it, it's different for everyone. And so one of the things I wanted to kind of understand when I got my diagnosis, how it affected me, how it affected my family and those around me. When that disease comes home, what's it like? And as I was going through this journey, and so much information was coming at me, this procedure, that procedure, holistic, just all these different choices I had to make, choosing which way I would go with cancer, dealing with cancer. What I knew was I had to be decisive. I had to make a decision that I could stick with, work with, not give up on, but give it a chance to really see if it works. Time is not something that now I could say I have a lot on my hands. Well, I take it back. I have a lot of time on my hand. I just don't know how much time I have left. The irony of it is I didn't know before my diagnosis. So why now I got the diagnosis? Now, why is death so prevalent in my thought process, especially at the beginning of the diagnosis? Because again, it's trying not to die. What I realized very quickly was you're going to die anyway. And that was something I had to tell my urologist, that, he kept telling me he wanted me to do something because he didn't want me to die. And I had to tap him on the shoulder, kind of say, Doc, you're going to die too. Tell me what you're doing to prevent yourself from dying. See, there's nothing out there that's going to prevent us from dying. But there's a lot of things out there that's going to prevent us from living. And that's what I didn't want to give up, my life. Yes, I wanted to deal and work with this cancer the best way I could. But how could I make this happen? What would be the best result? And to suit my lifestyle and my commitment, my dedication to do whatever plan I choose to take. And so I had to kind of, as an accountant, when you grow up in accounting, you have T accounts, the debits and the credits. That's what you learn when you first get into accounting, T accounts, the debits and credits. Because it is a different mindset, a different way of looking at information, results, and data. So I applied this to my prognosis. When I got my diagnosis, now it is, what's the prognosis? Because it's important to understand what your prognosis is. See, what happens, we try to make a decision on the diagnosis and not on the prognosis. And that's because lack of information, lack of understanding, and fear. Because I was there. I started with, okay, this is my diagnosis, what I need to do. But I had to say, hold on for a minute. Where's my prognosis? Let me gauge my decision on my prognosis, not the diagnosis. And so we have to take the time to understand the prognosis for ourselves. So like when I got diagnosed with high blood pressure and cholesterol years ago, what was the prognosis? Okay, let me do this. Let me go ahead, lose the weight, start working out. That's how I started running masters again. I didn't start running masters because I wanted to run. I started running masters because that was part of my plan to get my cholesterol and blood pressure down. So I had to understand what the prognosis was so I can come up with my own plan of care. I could not give up that power of my life to have someone dictate how the rest of my life was going to be. I gotta know. Because see, I can go to 3 different doctors and they give me 3 different plan of care. And I mean, whether it's all medical treatment or all non-traditional, everyone's going to have something a little different. So what makes this one right or this one right, or maybe not even what makes them right, what makes it best for you? You got to understand what makes it best for you. I've lived an active life. So now all of a sudden to just cut that off because of a cancer diagnosis was a little confusing. It was confusing because my decision would be based on how I can live out the rest of my life. I started a natural protocol because I thought it would give me the best chance to live the type of life that I'm used to and that I wanted to continue to live. I had to stop making it about how long I would live. Now, if that is your indicator and that's what you want to base your decision, whatever you think is going to give you the longest life, that's okay. And it wasn't worth the price for me. And I'm not saying it's not worth the price for you. I'm not here to tell you what's right or wrong. You have to make that decision. I just knew what I wanted for the rest of my life was I wanted to be who I was from a physical perspective. I didn't want to give up who I was physically and really mentally and spiritually. So I thought until I took this route that it improved all of them. My physical, my mental, my spiritual life is at an all-time high. And I'm proud to say I am glad I did that. And I'm only saying this because I've just heard and, just seen too many people wish they had just slowed down and taken the time. And I understand time is not a friend when you get a cancer diagnosis. And time is not a friend when you get a cancer diagnosis, not because you're about to die tomorrow or next year, as it is the mental fatigue you get on what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and is it going to work? And all that comes into the formula of living not to die. And we live not to die. We give up our ability to live every day. The fear of death, the fear of dying becomes the motivator to our decision making. And now it's not the life that we bargained for. So time is not our friend, not because we can die from cancer. It's because mentally it gets at warp speed. The information, the data, the news, everything now just zooms at us. And it's like, I just got to do something. And I'm saying I'm struggling with doing nothing, slowing down every day. So that time is a mental block. Mentally, you have to be prepared. There's nothing you can't be prepared for. You have to. Your choice is more than death. And I just challenge you, anyone that's out there struggling with cancer or any chronic disease, to take the time to enjoy the rest of your life and not run from death. Because that's something we all going to face some point in time in our life. I'm running to life now. And God is opening that avenue for me to see it. And I'm loving it. And I don't think I would be there had it not been for my cancer diagnosis. My prognosis, though, is what allowed me to make the best decisions for me. And no one can tell you what you did is wrong. You did what you thought you had to do with the information you had. You trusted the doctor or whatever. You just believed that was the best. And that's okay. It's our life that we have to learn to live with. This is like at the Decathlon, just 10 events. Let's get the information. I want to thank you for tuning in to Moody's Mixer. Hope you continue with me on this journey.